time to talk money. Of course, we will be delving into fashion business. Looking good is good business. And joining us is Babatunde Dedewo, CEO, No Boundaries Clothing. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
First, let's start with that name, No Boundaries Clothing. What does it depict?
Okay, we felt there's no limit to the desire to look good for any human being. Every human being wants to look their best. So we felt, okay, what had held you back in the past from looking good, it could have been that you're not getting access to authentic products in the past. But now you are able to, so you are not limited because you're in Nigeria. Because a lot of people felt, okay, you have to go abroad to get some nice things to look good. But we feel, okay, you can be in Nigeria here and not be limited by distance. So hence the name No Boundaries.
Interesting. So tell us, what does it entail to be a fashion entrepreneur like you?
Okay, it takes interest, deep interest. First of all, you have to be someone who loves to look good yourself. Because before you can make others look good, you must look good yourself. People come to the store sometimes, or to our shop sometimes, and they take a look at you. You're selling clothes. Okay, how do you look yourself? So it's important to look good first before you attempt to make other people look good. So interest and then the personal desire to look good yourself.
Okay. So what about capital? How much does it cost to go into this kind of business? I know you do both men and women clothing.
Yes. So capital. Isn't that the thing? The first thing everyone thinks about when they want to start a business. But like I said, it's interest first, and then money, capital will follow after. But because we deal with imported items, and because of the situation of the foreign exchange, the capital you would need 10 years ago is not the same capital you would need right now, obviously. So, so talking Naira and Kobo, you need it in the region of maybe $1 million, 1.5 million naira, just to start small. Emphasis on starting small. So
when you say start small, what do you mean? Does it mean starting in your bedroom or starting with a shop? How do you mean starting small?
Okay, so I would take myself back memory lane. When we started, we started from the car. We'll go.
Wow.
Okay. Yes, we started from our car, and we'll take orders from people. We didn't have any physical shop or store. We didn't have any online presence. So what we just had was, okay, people around us who worked in the bank, who worked in churches, who would like to look good from time to time. Okay, so we started asking them what they wanted, and we would then go to our supplier here in Lagos, and then we'll take it from office to office just to drop off. So starting small with that amount, and with that amount, you don't need to rent a store when you want to start small. You could just start from your car, from your bedroom, like you mentioned, and then you build up from there. So that was how we started.
Okay. Earlier you said you do with imported clothes and all of that.
Yes.
For those who like to create the designs themselves, in other words, they simply get the graphics and they do the whole designing, styling for it to come out well. How can they go about that business? Because they may be watching now and they're trying to learn one or two things from you.
Okay, so there is a market. There's a demand for local designs and locally made clothes items. So there's a market share for that. And if you want to go into that business, first of all, your designs must be top notch. Your design must be very good. Because sometimes before you can come close to touching or feeling a garment, you have to see it first. You see it from a distance, and then it has to be something visually appealing for you to. That will make you come close and have a feel, and then decide to actually buy. So your design, you must get your designs right. You must get your designs right because it's a crowded market. It's a crowded business. So you have to do something to set yourself apart. So your designs must be top notch. Then you can move on to the quality of your garment.
Okay.
The quality of your garments must be good. Must be good. Must be good. Eventually, the pricing will have a great say on all of this because good things are not cheap.
Yeah.
Especially not in Nigeria right now. So don't mind pricing, but mind quality first.
Okay.
Mind quality first. Quality will take care of pricing. When people see that it's of good quality, then they know they have to pay the extra cash. So get your designs right and get the quality of the garments right, and then you should be good to go.
Okay, talking about getting designs right, I mean, in the process of being creative with these designs and styles, we've heard of reports over time that there's the issue of intellectual theft or plagiarism even within the industry. In other words, there's a fashion designer who probably imitates another person's design and all of that.
Yes.
Yes. What would be the measures that you would suggest for any creative fashion designer to be able to stand out in his or her own design?
Well, when it comes to designs and art, plagiarism is not something you can easily police.
Okay.
Okay, so I see a design somewhere, and I want to replicate it with my own designs.
Yeah.
It will be difficult to say, okay, this person came out with this design, and we hardly do we what's the word now?
Trademark.
Sorry?
Trademark?
Yes, trademark. Hardly do we trademark designs here in Nigeria. So it's hard to actually put a limit or restrictions to how people can use your designs. But how can you still go about it? It's a tough one. I think when you make your designs,
okay,
you could why should I say this? You could make it hard to copy. You could invest time in making sure that your design is unique and difficult to copy.
Paying attention to details. Yeah, well, I'm interested in why you decided to go imported. You just talked about the fact that there is a huge market for locally made clothing, but why did you decide to go imported?
Well, like I said, someone has to do imported, someone has to do local. So
hold on, please. If you were to rate or apportion some form of percentage to the pension for locally made clothing items and imported ones, how would you rate them?
As Nigerians, we have a natural tendency to go for imported items. And so we feel that why go against the flow when you can go with the flow? So we went with the flow and then did imported. So to your question, how many the percentage is hard to put numbers to these things, but I can say the imported items are in the majority when you compare with locally made items. That much I can say.
Okay. So, in that sense, which is more lucrative, delving into the locally made outfits or the imported clothing?
Oh, sure. It's the local ones. Over time, we grew up. Most of us grew up with locally made traditional wears. The adires, the ashokes. They still have, like I said, they still have their place in our social fabric. When we have events like traditional events like weddings, burials, I won't buy a TM Lewin shirt for a burial where everybody will wear. You understand? I won't buy a horse and Curtis shirt for a traditional wedding. No, I'll go local. So there's still a place for locally made fabric or locally made designs in the industry. So I feel, of course, the locally made ones, they are more creative, they are more colorful, they are more to the taste of quite some number of people. But when you have to go to the office Monday to Friday, that's where we come in, and so there's a place for everybody.
Okay, run us through some of the challenges associated with the business.
Okay, the first and the major one is foreign exchange. Quite recently, because we deal with our suppliers, our main suppliers, also and Cortez and TM Lewin, they're both in the UK, and we had to pay over 800 naira to a pound just recently. And that was not just last year. We were paying maybe 400 and something naira to a pound. So imagine in the space of less than a year, the exchange rate has gone up almost 70-80%. So now you think of it, okay, you have to sell these things locally. Yes, the items are imported, but you have to sell locally. So you look at the people who will buy these things, as their earnings improved, as their social. No, it hasn't. It has even gone worse. So that affects our profit margin, because you have to now think about, okay, where can I cut things? You don't have to cut your profit just to make sales. The profit that you had, you would gain or get normally in the past, you'll have to just bring it down a notch so that people can be able to afford these things. So the foreign exchange is the main issue. That's a major challenge we're facing at the moment.
Okay.
Talk to us about your inputs, the things you put, for instance, your equipment, the tools. I know you don't sew, so what are the things you use to run your business?
Okay, what are the things we use because we have an online presence. Apart from the items you're selling, you have to get your items out there for adverts purpose, for visibility purpose. So you need a computer, you need scanners, because all our items come with barcodes. And so to keep an accurate inventory of all that you have in store, you have to have a computer, you have a scanner, you have your shop set up. You don't need much, really. You don't need much. So those are the main things, because these days we the majority of our business is done online. Easily we make 70% sales online and 30 physical. So we invest quite a lot in our online presence, and so because of that, you have to have things like your mobile phones, you have to be on Instagram, you have to be on Twitter, you have to be on the internet. So mainly, you would think that we were an IT shop, we should come to our store. So because we know that the majority of our business is online, and so we consolidate on that so that's to make maximum sales.
Okay, kindly give us some tips, for those who want to delve into this business, as a means of income. Can you give them some tips on how to navigate, the waters?
Okay. First of all, have an interest. Have an interest in the low times, and believe me, there'll be low times. Your interest will carry you through the tide. So have an interest, first of all, in whatever you want to do. So, and if it's fashion, it is absolutely fine. So after interest, you have to know the customers. You have to know in what size range the customer, the Nigerian populace fall. Yeah, a friend of mine who wanted to do the same business recently just went to the UK and started buying shirts, started buying fashion items without actually studying the market. So he came back with these things and he found them difficult to sell because some of them were not in the right sizes of the majority of Nigerians. Yeah, Nigerians, sometimes we tend to be heavy around the midsection. So you have to make sure that you buy the right fit. You don't buy something that is too tight. Yeah, some people don't like the shirts too tight. You have to accommodate that. Some people don't like it too bogus. You have to accommodate that. There's a certain range for men, especially. Men especially fall into maybe like 5 categories of sizes. You have to make sure you get as much shirts as possible in those size ranges, so that you don't get something that you find difficult to sell. So study the Nigerian market, study the Nigerian populace, how they are size-wise, and then make sure you get items or shirts that will fit those sizes. So that's it.
All right, talk to us about your staff strength. Who are they? What are the job opportunities you have created in your small space? Okay.
The business started small about 10 years ago. Yes. So over time, we've seen, especially, let me say pre-COVID and post-COVID, So pre-COVID, we had a staff strength of about 3 to 4.
Okay.
Yes, but after COVID, when most businesses took business online, big time, so we saw that okay, we didn't have so much of a need for some of the staff that we had, so we had to downsize too. Major corporations were downsizing, small businesses also were downsizing. So we had to downsize. So now we are free, and we have a dispatch that takes all our items to for those who want to buy directly from us and not through the main e-commerce platforms that were. I don't think I'm permitted to name names, but if you're not buying through the major platforms, if you're buying from us on Instagram directly, that means you're buying from us directly. So we have to make arrangements for how those items will get to you. So we have a dispatch, we have myself, and we have 2 others. So we're still 4, but we added someone and we dropped someone. So we're 4 right now.
Okay, so generally this business, you've talked about the fact that the locally made ones are more lucrative than these, imported ones that you do. But generally, if you look at Nigeria's market in terms of those who purchase these imported goods and those who purchase the local ones, what would you say is the comparison in terms of the taste or the need of Nigerians?
Okay, I thought I mentioned it earlier that there's a place for the imported shirts, official look, and all of that. There's a place for that, and there's also a place for locally made materials or garments. So there's a taste for when you have an event, a traditional event, burial, weddings. You can wear. You're not expected to wear shirts and ties. Yeah.
Okay, I guess we already overflogged that. We'll probably leave the conversation there. Thank you so much for your time on the show, Babatunde Dedewo.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, have a nice day.
Yes.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll delve into more talks. Please stay with us.